There's so many angles, OG, and it's very disheartening when you hear the stories of people, real people who were interviewed, not masked, people who were willing to come out. I'll address a few things. The first is around whether the BBC had legitimacy or the right to investigate because, it's an African issue. I think it's an indictment on our own investigative journalism, if we say that, because we ought to agree, yes, we tell our own stories, but I don't think it takes away the import of what they have revealed. And if they decide to take, when they did sex for marks, we didn't say it wasn't their business. When it changed legislature in the universities, we didn't say it was their business. So I know that when it comes to religion, it's very sensitive. However, we must come to a place where we are honest with ourselves. And I will always proudly say that I'm a member of the constituency of the church because I'm a Christian. So this is very sad for me to watch it play out. Let me say so. I'm not judging because this is an investigative piece. However, the first thing I would say is this. Prophet T.B Joshua is not the first Christian to have for allegations to come out after his death. There was a famous preacher called Ravi Zacharias who died in 2020, and following his death, there were allegations of sexual misconduct by some women. What the church did was that they investigated. So they didn't just throw it away and say, we're not going to respond to this.
Is the issue.
They investigated and they found that it was actually true. And so what they did was that they apologized to these women, and then they took out his name out of certain things, and there was some form of, repentance.
Yes.
The Christian faith is about repentance. When you find out something is wrong, no one is above mistake. There's no superhuman being on this earth. And so the take from what I've heard, I'm not very impressed by that they're just discounting people's experiences without any form of investigation. And the fact that this is not the first time it's coming out.
Absolutely not.
Similar to, you should read the Ravi Zacharias story. Exactly the same thing. There were allegations, but the church had quietened it down and not investigated. But they were pressured to do so after his death, when even more allegations came out and lawyers were defending these women. So I believe that rather than the church coming out and saying, it's just an attack on his integrity, I think it's quite irresponsible to do that. I believe that the next line of action, in the spirit of protecting, I said it earlier when I was speaking, no human life is more important than another human life. If there are allegations of misconduct, investigate. And even for the sake of the future and for legacy's sake, come out and say that we investigated thoroughly and we found him not guilty, innocent, and these people are lying. Then we can rest assured. So I don't think it's okay to just bury it and say, let's leave it. That's one. Then the final point I'll make is this. When you read about this, sexual misconduct in the church is not new. It's happened over the years, whether in the Catholic Church, whether in Pentecostalism, in many churches. Unfortunately, what is done is that it's buried. There are a lot of cult systems that are operating as churches. Let me put it that way. There are cults that operate as churches. And we need to uncover this, not just because of its impugning on the integrity of the church, but also the innocent lives that are being destroyed on a daily basis by this. Jesus came to this world to die for everybody, not more for the pastor than the congregation. So we should protect the lives of young people, men, women, boys, girls, if we really love God, as we say. So I don't stand for burying, things like this. I think it should be investigated. They should be apologized to, and if possible, the church should build a system where we can prevent such cults from operating. If it does exist, it does exist. I'm not saying this one until investigation is completed.
I totally agree with you, Ayo, and I think that you hit the right notes.